Alright guys, time to grab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Crimsix is going rogue on the timeline again. The ATS drama has certainly been continuing the last couple of weeks. Will pros use it? Will they GA it from this title once again? Crimsix certainly has some words to say on whether he's going to be using it for this upcoming year. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. I've already upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, I thought this was kind of funny between Kenny and Drazah. Of course, they were having a good time playing the beta together, it seems, these last several hours. Look at me in the eyes, Judy, at Drazah. I can't. You're 5'7". So certainly, yeah, this is the key storyline for the upcoming season. Not only Los Angeles Thieves versus the rest, but also Los Angeles Thieves internally. I guess the battle of the SMG duo in that sense, even though Drazah and Envoy the SMG duo, Kenny's the AR. But there has been some discussion really with that team whether those roles could potentially change, because that's the nice thing about Thieves, at least from their perspective. They have a lot of flexibility in what they can do. Envoy, of course, is going to be a sub, but Kenny and Drazah can pretty much do both, right? And we saw Kenny back in the original World War II days being the best PPSH player in the entire game. Will we see that again this year, like with the other weapons that are coming into play? Maybe, maybe not. He's probably, well, certainly has seemed to be more comfortable on the AR these last several titles, and Drazah can pretty much do it all. But yeah, we never know really what type of SMG duo we'll get in this title, because maybe there's going to be 3 SMG Meteorite on certain maps. It's tough to say. Usually that's how it progresses over time. This also from Clay's to definitely some frustrations with the beta. We talked about it a bit earlier today, but this is something I think it would be nice to separate out. Still mind-blowing, we had to play at 100 master 100 sound effects volume last year because you could only hear specific footsteps at 100. Love that for my ears. So that's the thing, right, about these kind of master volume, the sound effects type stuff. If they separated footstep volume from the rest of the sound effects volume, I suppose, then you can actually up the footstep volume and keep that at 100 without like destroying your ears from all the other stuff. But Clace is like, yeah, love that for my ears. Hopefully this title they can change that around to make sure that's not necessarily the case, because a lot of talk we're going to have over the coming minutes here really about well, difficulties for individual player, like, you know, the thumbs and stuff, right, with actually spamming that left thumbstick to, well, go forward in terms of ATS. But of course at the same time there is talk about, you know, players' ears and stuff. So definitely over time it can take a toll on some of these veteran players, and well, hopefully that doesn't necessarily have to be the case this time around. This is also something that Parasite and RCs were mentioning right here. Read what the attachments do. In the beta there's a lot of attachments I avoid currently, because since you don't have access to all the attachments, counteracting some detrimental weapon effects aren't possible yet. Some weapons I only have 4 to 5 slots filled instead of 10 attachments. Learned that with the bar when I put the 12 bullet mag on, since our season actually lost full over the matter. So yes, certainly we'll have a look at some classes here in just a second. Actually, well, these are the ones from Parasite. I'll leave these linked down below if you guys want to check them out. Give these guys a go. The Volk, the MP40, the bar, and the STG. I'll just bring up the STG for you guys real quick so you can have a look to see what's going on here. You see the magazine, he doesn't actually have filled out. None other classes, he's got even less attachments than this filled out, because they have some negative effects that come along with them, and therefore you don't really want to put any magazine attachments on, because it's probably just going to make things worse in terms of the other handling characteristics of the weaponry. And well, oftentimes you don't even need it anyway. So this is what he tends to be using, and well, this is what he's going for right now. It's going to be so tough to say what is the best weaponry over time, especially because there are so many attachments in this title. It's so hard to figure out what's going on. This is also from JGod that a couple of people were talking about the fact that, look, this is what it was in 2025, or at least in the game set in 2025 in 2012. That was Black Ops 2, when you had a beautiful class set right here. You know, pick 10. You can not have a secondary or not have a perk 2 if you want, not have a lethal tack insert. Not a bad setup here at all, actually, with the M1216. And well, anyway, this is the class that some people were using back in the day. Pick 10, beautiful stuff. Nowadays, you have this, which as you can see is just absolute chaos. Like there's pick 27 or something people are talking about right here. And the STG, you've got that weapon with so many attachments on it. You've got a secondary with so many attachments on it as well. Then you've got your perks, your lethal, your tactical. It's just like it's not the same as it was back in the day, right? I'd like to go back in time to some degree, but I suppose that's what Warzone and kind of the Gunsmith has brought to Call of Duty these last several years. But yeah, still certainly some frustrations on one side. Maybe people are somewhat happy about it on the other side though. So this is what happened from Crimsix a couple of weeks ago now. He was certainly having a fair bit of a controversial discussion about some players that haven't received the shot yet, right? So Crimsix's perspective is pretty much to like, look, if it helps us get back to a LAN league faster, and to ensure, as Los Angeles Thieves were talking about the other day, there's rumors right now they're going to try and go back to LAN and make it work, but Crimsix has maybe heard that the issue with that is because some players haven't got the shot, right? So he's like, okay, look, just get it and then we'll be back to the best position we possibly can be. But yeah, some players are maybe hesitant about it, right? And then Crimsix comes out with this last night. To all pros, get Vaxxed or get ATS, right? So he's saying, look, if you don't want to do this, then well, I'm going down the route and I'm going to use auto tac sprint to get you guys unlucky, right? Because there has been a fair bit of talk these last few days from the likes of ILLey and the likes of Slasher saying, look, to some players that don't want to use this auto or that do want to use this auto sprint option going into next year, saying, okay, yeah, we're not using it anyway. But Crimsix has always had a fair bit of drama with auto tactical sprints. From first when it was introduced back in Modern Warfare, but also last year. I mean, it was a kind of a, well, it was GA'd once again last title, but there was a fair bit of talk between him and Neptune, right? He thought Neptune and other pros were potentially using auto sprints, which is just where instead of having to press your left trigger, your left thumbstick down to sprint forwards, or like to double press it to auto attack sprint forwards, you can just hold it forward and you will just go flying off into the sunset. And well, anyway, Crimsix is saying yes, get ATS because, well, this title, he's saying, okay, maybe I'm just going to use it anyway if you guys don't want to kind of go along with the discussions that we've had on this front. Now, Morks, as he says right here, so are you running it this year or not? Clayster, potentially the teammate of Crimsix, seems to be pretty happy to go along with it and use it as well. So Clayster's never really liked gentlemen's agreements, but some pros seem very much for it right now. Standy was saying, yeah, kind of down to use it as well. Clayster seems to want to do it. We've got Crimsix who seems to want to use it, and then, well, there's other players who certainly are on the other side of the fence. Now, this is kind of the drama that went on last year, right? Because during Modern Warfare, this is that Crimsix was using auto single sprint, so not auto tac sprint, but also single sprint. So you hold your left stick forward and you just sprint once, I suppose. Then he was using this in practice for like several, I don't know, several weeks, several days, I don't really know, several maps at the very least, to try and figure out if people can actually notice them using it. So he's always been in a drama, you know, some drama about this. We GA'd a setting that no one can prove, can't be restricted, and is game changing. But the pros seem to think they can trust the 55 individuals as it was at the time in the league for a combined total of 4.9 mil over the next 2 months. So Crimsix was not convinced that, you know, that actually GAing this was actually a good idea, because you can't really stop anyone using it, especially with the online stuff. It was pretty much impossible to say who was using what settings and who was not, right? Because you can't just see what settings people are using, have the referees behind them checking their stuff out. So that was kind of the question mark as it was at the time. And Crimsix wasn't happy about a, you know, auto single sprint, I suppose, being GA'd, or at least the way it was GA'd at the time. And maybe this year, Crimsix is going down a similar route again and thinking, all right, let's go back to how things were in a sense, and let's we'll get it used, right? As he says, right, I thought it was kind of entertaining. You want to open this can of worms, so I mean, obviously a controversial topic, but you know, my thumbs, my choice of sprint setting, I will do what I want. Thank you very much. So certainly very interesting. And of course, well, former teammate of Crimsix now in Shotzzy, certainly drama between these couple yesterday. This is a pretty funny spot that Shotzzy manages to find here, and I guess this is Red Star. And this kind of reminds me, if you guys remember USS Texas, I really hate thinking about this map, but all the way at the back of USS Texas, like on the boat, there used to be like a cannon that you could run up or something and get a bit of an angle. Seems to be like this is, and of course I guess it's a similar developer, right? Sledgehammer made both titles, so maybe that's what Shotzzy was thinking right here. Runs up this tree and gets a nice little angle here on Red Star, but I don't necessarily reckon this will be a competitive map, so maybe not viable. But Shotzzy always seems to find new spots. I think he did a video a couple of days ago, kind of revealing a load of the spots that he kind of hidden or saved on Checkmate this year that you know, no one really knew about necessarily. It's kind of hidden stuff behind the scenes. To continue in terms of movement, right, because we know Shotzzy's pretty good on the movement front. This from Octane Sam. Bunny hopping is 100% my main form of movement this year. I missed it way too much. It seems like bunny hopping's kind of back in business, right, with this Modern Warfare engine. Instead of like the slide cancelling type stuff, you couldn't really do any of that in Cold War. Like as an AR, you didn't really have too many options in terms of how you move around the map. You can't really jump all that much. But in Modern Warfare, that certainly was not the case, right? And Octane was generally having a pretty good time with the bunny hopping. So it seems like that's going to be returning in full force. That's what Octane's going to be, well, making the most of this year, right? And if Octane returns to that kind of, you know, Modern Warfare level when it was dropping 1.4s every event, albeit on Seattle Surge, then it will maybe a scary sign for the rest of the players in the league right now. This also from Kenny, right, just to finish off the video, this gun do be hitting though, so there's a lot of different weapons that some people are saying are good, some people are saying are not so good. It's tough to say, but a lot of thoughts really from Kenny here, not only here on Red Star, just completely mopping people up from this kind of top, I guess, ship or whatever this is. Some of the head glitches here are absolutely disgusting, really, to take people out of spawn. But also goes on to say, as Pauser says, use this gun on the PS5, and I thought it was pretty good, but the recoils felt pretty bugged, and it might have to give this one a try again. The recoil is trickier range. Me and Drazah found out, it kind of a throwback to the start of the video, that the fun that was going on there. If you tap it at range, it kills unbelievably fast. So I'll finish out the video for you guys with this clip and how that can potentially go. I think it might be this weapon, that NZ at 41 that he's talking about right here, and just wanted to finish off with this clip as well from Crimsix that was talked about a couple of days ago, right, when he did that crazy stream that we discussed last night, but kind of the relationship he had with ILLey, and the fact that it seems like they're still good friends even after all this type of stuff, and ILLey seemed pretty sad about having to let Crimsix go from the team, but at the end of the day, maybe still agreed with the decision. But very much intrigued to get your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really upset that YouTube I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thanks for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.
They're frying our This got A on our too.
Oh god. I'll get two.
Get three, get three.
And I'll beam a guy across the map. I got that. Oh, Jesus, bro.
Wait, did you kill him? Like,
And the guy in the building? Yeah, I did.
Damn, bro. My only good with snipes because they sit in the building. Like, your ass.
bro, my screen is tweaking out.
You gotta fix that, bro.
I try to get turned.
Bro!
Bro!
He's my boy. But I don't know if, you know, at the end of the day, he agreed. So I don't know. But Ender started, like, breaking down. Like, I might break down just talking about it. You know? I don't know if Ender was crying and whatnot, but I mean, dude, I was like, bro, it's all good. You know? Like, at the end of the day, I kind of deserve this. So. Yeah, he's still my pope. You know? But I don't know. I think